This is a review for episode 12 of Arrow called Vertigo. In the comics, Count Vertigo was the last remaining member of a royal family. He really was a count, and he had the power to throw people's balance off because of a chip he had in his head to help an inner ear problem, I think it was. On this, he's just a drug dealer, and he's called the Count because he uses a double syringe and injects people in the neck with it. So, once again, Owen's not after somebody on a list. He's after a drug dealer this time. And he keeps claiming, "You sold drugs to my sister." But the guy didn't. He invented a drug that a drug dealer sold to his sister's friends, and then the friends gave it to her as a birthday present. And she got into a car accident she probably would have gotten into anyways, even if it wasn't for the drugs, because she was drinking and upset and would have gotten into the accident anyways. But I guess that's not good enough motivation, and they want the audience to forget what we saw, so they changed the story around. Well, if you can't tell, I did not like this episode. There was a lot of talking about stuff we already knew. And the stuff we didn't know, they literally explained to us 5 seconds later. When he's trying to track down Count Vertigo, he goes to his mob friends, and they still don't believe him that he's worthy, so they have him kill somebody. And 5 seconds later, actually not even 5 seconds later, they don't even jump cut to the island. They just kind of warp into showing us how he did it, how he learned to fake somebody's death. These writers don't like mystery. Last week, he just happened to be looking through the computer and found out who the bad guy was by accident. This week, they don't show you any mystery. They drag out the few mysteries, and they don't give us any mystery to the mysteries that we want to wonder about. So, Owen's sister goes to court, and the judge tries to give her all sorts of harsh punishments, which don't make a whole lot of sense, because she was 17 at the time and has no prior convictions, and he tries to basically throw her in prison for a DUI, which doesn't make any sense. Claims that Vertigo is a plague on society, and he's going to make an example of her. If people see a member of the Queen family can go to jail, everybody will stop doing drugs. And that's not how it works. But, well, let's talk about the good things in this episode. Seth Gable. He plays Vertigo, and he's fantastic. He does a great job. He's from Fringe and Dirty Sexy Money, and he does a really good job. They introduce a new love interest, played by Janina Gavin Carr. But she was in the L Word and in True Blood. And she looks like that. She plays a vice cop who's probably going to later on be Owen's love interest, I'm guessing. But she sees him at a drug deal that he set up to try to catch the Count, but he claims that he paid the mob a bunch of money so that he could see the Count's face so they could give it to a sketch artist. And they, of course, buy this BS story. In reality, he gets stabbed in the chest by the Count, by Vertigo, and has a couple hallucinations about the island. And there's enough left in the syringe that he brings it to Felicity Smoke, talking about BS stories. And this time tells her that it's for a energy drink his friend is trying to make. And she doesn't believe him, of course. Even Dig says, "Wow, your BS stories are getting worse." Yeah, I know. So Felicity tells him where the water in the drug came from, and he uses that to track down the Count. And after a little battle, he ends up stabbing him with a bunch of the Vertigo. And so now the Count is permanently insane and in a mental institution. So he'll be back. They kind of turned him into Scarecrow from Batman Begins. But that's okay. He'll be back. The actor was very good, so I'm glad we'll get to see him again. His sister ends up, as part of her sentence, having to work for Laurel. And gets 500 hours of community service, 2 years probation, and loses her license. And that's the deal she gets for a DUI. Okay, I'm glad I'm not in these people's world. You might get prison time for jaywalking. But at the end, he meets up with Felicity. Felicity Smoke calls him up, asks him to meet in a restaurant, and tells him that she knows about the book. And that she got the book from Walter, who got it from his mom. So now he knows that his mom was in on this. Just like his dad was bad, his mom wasn't so nice either. Which is something we knew at the end of the first episode, but that's okay. At least things are moving on. This ended up being a long review. Yeah, I didn't like the episode. There was a lot of talking, a lot of recapping stuff we already knew. I guess the characters at least learned something. But, yeah. No fighting, no John Barrowman. Seth Gable was good. That's about it. Thank you for watching, and I'll try to do better next time.